Today is a glorious day for SoFi bros and SoFi sisters. If you are a SoFi shareholder, definitely let me know down below in the comments section. I myself am a SoFi bro, and today we have a very nice clean breakout. It is 2:16 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The market's going to be open for about another 1 hour, 44 minutes-ish. Then we got PLTR earnings today, which I do want to talk about. And tomorrow we have, oh boy, we got quite a few ones. We got AMD. Oh, that's going to be definitely interesting. And we'll also have SpaceX as well, too. So I really want to talk for the majority of today's video revolving around SoFi. What is going on? I was actually super duper busy this morning. I typically post videos about like an hour and a half-ish once the market has pretty much been open after 9:30 Eastern Standard Time. If you enjoy my content, you know the drill. Smash all the like buttons. Actually, there's only one like button. Click subscribe if you want to follow along. I put out videos Monday through Friday on this YouTube channel, and Saturday I put out educational free content. So yes, hold on. Sorry about that. I just got a text message. Anyways, okay, so for SoFi in general, what is really going on today? Well, if you're ever unsure about why a stock might be moving, the first place I highly recommend checking is social media, right? No, wrongo. I actually uploaded a video this past Saturday talking about a stock routine. Pretty much I do for all of my positions. Doesn't matter if it's a long-term, short-term. I mean, even if it's a day trade, you should still really be looking at theoretically why the stock is moving and what the company is doing. And the best reliable information that you can find is directly on their investor relation page. So if you are ever unsure about what is going on, maybe with one of your stocks, whether it's going down or whether it's going up, check the investor relation page first and foremost. You don't have to be a financial advisor to figure this out. This is common sense. This is where it is the most accurate information out there. More accurate than what comes out of my mouth, more accurate than social media. I don't care how many subscribers somebody has on YouTube. The most accurate information to find is directly from the website, from the company that you are invested directly. And that is the thing about being invested in publicly traded companies. You have access to all of this public knowledge. Private companies, on the flip side, it's a little different. Very much. You're probably more than likely not going to be a shareholder of a private company. So, did any news come out today? No news came out today. Put a check in the box. Okay, no SoFi news. What else is going on in the world? Well, in the world, we have a very big fear revolving around macroeconomics. Macroeconomics versus microeconomics 101, okay? Macroeconomics, monetary. Whenever you hear the word macro, it's about money, monetary, right? Inflation is very high in an economy. Rate hikes could very well be happening. Then you also could have the opposite. You could have deflation in an economy. Deflation in an economy typically signals recession. Both inflation and deflation, it's really not like the best if you really think about it. Microeconomics. Micro is supply and demand 101. Prime example of a company with a supply issue to meet their demand, Micron. AMD, maybe. AMD is definitely going to be hopefully guiding for a lot of demand, and they don't really have the supply to really meet that, which in my opinion is going to drive up the stock price significantly because it's going to factor that in. Micron, MU, we've already seen that pretty much happen, okay? They are having a microeconomic problem. SoFi is having a macroeconomic problem. And if you don't believe me, the CEO, our fearless leader, and the SoFi management team. And by the way, if you are new here, welcome. I've been a SoFi shareholder since February 2nd, 2024 is when I bought my first SoFi share. But I've been following SoFi very much like throughout 2023, never took a position. And the reason I did talk about this in Saturday's video. Pretty much their EPS flip happened in the beginning of 2024. Went from negative to positive. And we've been rock and rolling ever since on earnings left and right. So, macro environments. Okay, so this is where going off of basically news headlines does actually play a role. So, Middle East news, I've been covering this for a while. Let's keep good prayers, good thoughts that everything gets wrapped up relatively soon, and hopefully it does. There's a lot of optimistic right now in the Middle East around, hey, a peace deal is going to be happening. There are so many different articles. There's a lot of things coming out of the White House, the Trump administration. Yes, if you are not a fan of the Trump administration, this is not a political channel, but the Trump administration is in power for the next, 2.5 years. And then the new administration coming in, well, you gotta follow them. You can't play politics, otherwise you're going to lose money. It just doesn't work well in your favor. And you can still talk about politics without getting political in general. But, yes, you have to be paying attention to what President Trump or President Biden or President whomever is doing. 2022, 2023, 24. Hey, I paid attention to the Biden administration. Why? Is because they are the management team, theoretically, of America. So you gotta be staying current, especially when your stock is being affected by politics, geopolitical events, which SoFi is, and also just macroeconomics. So if a peace deal is somewhat reached and everything goes back to the way it kind of was momentarily, pretty much, I want to say, I believe it was earlier June time frame. Let's look at SoFi on the daily chart. Each one of these candlesticks represents 1 day. So basically, pretty much back in I want to say several weeks ago. Several weeks ago, you basically had a lot of optimistic about oil. Oil was actually below $70 a barrel. Now we're very much below 85. We're not below 80. We're not below 70. If it does get below 70 again, we could very well see SoFi trying to break out at $19. Obviously, SoFi tried to break out at $19 back in April and failed. And then we tried, if you really want to look back, in July once again, and we failed. In my opinion, it's going to be probably a big momentum, and then boom, we're definitely going to break out. Where do I see SoFi basically pretty much moving once we break out of there? Very much back to the 20s. 21, maybe even $22, maybe on the low side, maybe 20-ish. 20 is definitely going to be a psychological level. Psychological levels are real, and yes, they very much do matter for price action. Definitely when a company doesn't put out news and a company is following the broader market like SoFi. SoFi is following technical analysis. They really, really are. What do I mean by that? Well, if SoFi doesn't put out news, if the geopolitical events are dying down, SoFi is going to go up. Okay? If geopolitical events, start spiraling out of control, SoFi is going to go down. If SoFi continues to put out no new news, but just continues to execute, the stock price is at the mercy of pretty much, hey, technical analysis, whatever is going on in the world. So if stuff wraps up in the Middle East and good vibes are pretty much all around, yeah, we can definitely really see SoFi reclaim $20. Is SoFi undervalued in my opinion? Well, after this past earnings, yeah, it's like SoFi. There is no reason why SoFi stock price should not be $20+. Now, the CEO has put out a very bold statement that SoFi should be trading at a 5 times tangible book value, which would be about $35. Do I believe in that accurate statement? Well, I've been following SoFi for a while now, actually years now, and they are a disruptor company. If you know nothing about SoFi, you can't just go off of what people say about it. You got to do your due diligence like I am, which is why I continue to buy the stock when I'm loaded with thousands of shares. I believe 2,300-ish shares now. It's a lot. So, yeah, they are a disruptor company. They definitely deserve a higher multiple, but the macro environment is dragging the stock price down to a different evaluation. Take away the macro environment, yeah, I mean, was SoFi overvalued back in October of last year? Yes, I was not buying the stock. I was not. However, since October, we have had 1, 2, 3 quarters of continuous growth in beats, which means the company has grown. So therefore, the company grows into its earnings of a high valuation. SoFi right now, at all-time highs, would actually be valued on a less of a multiple because earnings have caught up with that higher multiple. Now, if SoFi went back to $32 in like a month, that would be a very, very big move. Do I believe they're going to go back to 32, 35 bucks in a month? No. Do I still see if the macro environments clear up? My bold statement for the end of this year is anywhere between 25 to 35 bucks. Oh yeah, absolutely. By the end of this year, if this macro environment clears up and there's really a solid deal in the Middle East, yeah, you're talking about a stock like SoFi? Very much. And if you don't believe me, well, go watch my videos on AMD about 3-4 months ago when AMD was below 200 bucks. Okay? Let's just say that. Stocks that are hyper-growing companies like SoFi with a CAGR, compound annual growth rate of 30+% year over year, they move like that. Okay? No, it's not a penny stock. A penny stock is going to go up by hundreds of percents in one day. SoFi is going to go up by hundreds and hundreds of percents in years. That's actually very healthy. Very healthy. In 1 month, could SoFi double? Sure, they have. Oh, yes, they have. It's nothing crazy. What about semis? NVIDIA doubled in 1 month. Oh, yeah? Can AMD do the same? AMD has. So when you have growing companies, it's nothing new. But the macro environment dictates everything. Last thing I'll basically talk about SoFi is pretty much data. Government data for pretty much this week. Government data for this week. No, I'm not being sponsored by Snapple. Snapple, in my opinion, is just pure sugar water. Not the healthiest. Sorry, actually, I'm not sorry, Snapple. Yeah, if you have health goals, definitely stay away from Snapple. Okay, so the data we got this morning, obviously not really too crazy to move the market. The market wants macro data. Macro data, later this week, Friday, employment report or unemployment report as well too. That's probably not going to do a whole lot for the market, but next week we're going to start getting some inflation macro data, okay? Macroeconomics. So CPI next Wednesday, that's going to be very big. PPI is also inflation too. Following week, we're going to be getting PCE. So definitely stay tuned for all this stuff that's coming up. But I mean, this week, it's going to be pretty much just like a lot of the same. Palantir, very quickly. I'm a shareholder. I've made a lot of money in Palantir. Tens and tens of thousands of dollars of profits in Palantir. And they're going to be reporting today. I'm not going to dive into the numbers or anything, but it's pretty clear that they're going to come in and hit a home run. The problem regarding Palantir is sustainability. But then again, you have a management team that just continues to shock Wall Street. And the amount of people that have lost money, probably life-changing money, shorting this stock and also buying puts on the stock. Little different. Shorting and buying puts option, it's a little different, okay? It would shock you. It really will shock you. Another prime example of a stock. Palantir has grown into its earnings evaluation. So if you go back when Palantir was at its all-time highs, very much several quarters ago, obviously there were way too much, like you're talking about a multiple of beyond like 100. It's ridiculous. So the thing about Palantir is they have grown into their multiple. A lot of people are saying Palantir is a buy in this current state. If Palantir does flop on their earnings today for whatever reason, I'll probably pick up some more shares. Call me a little crazy, but I definitely do believe long term in Palantir. And if Palantir does come in and smash it, the stock price could very much move maybe 10% in either direction. Obviously, Palantir super bulls out there. The perma bulls are always going to say squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. I really see the opposite, but very much moving into a healthier direction to reclaim $150 on Palantir, which is very important. 200-day moving average is sitting right on 152. Probably would not get up there anytime soon. Maybe over like the next couple weeks if they do come in and smash earnings. The thing about Palantir, though, is that the market has to be very risk-on. If the market is risk-on, a company like Palantir is definitely going to very much move higher. So SpaceX is going to be reporting their first earnings. If you have never sat in on a earnings call to a brand new company, I'm not really too sure why my... Oh, yeah, I know why. My RSI and MACD has not loaded because, well, they have not been around long enough to actually have my RSI and MACD loaded. There we go. I have to change over to the daily time frame. I was on the weekly. So SpaceX, I have made a video on, and I have talked about. I would love to be a shareholder of SpaceX someday. Just like SoFi, why did I get invested for SoFi? It was for a really good reason. Hey, the EPS did a flip, okay? The flip went from negative to positive EPS. SpaceX is going to be there someday. Is that day going to be now? No. Sorry, SpaceX Super Bulls, but it ain't going to be now. Sure, you can buy for the future, but understand when a company goes public, they dilute you like crazy. I really got to make a video talking about companies that I've been in where I've gone screwed up the wazoo because I did buy when they were an IPO, and then they diluted the ever-living crap out of me, and I lost about 80% of my investment. Yeah, crazy, right? No, it's not crazy at all. That's how life is, okay? SpaceX is not going to be profitable, I believe, until 2030. Don't quote me on that. It's going to be a hot minute. So, am I going to be making more SpaceX videos? I will. But understand that SpaceX is a company I do not plan on owning today, tomorrow, next week, next month, not even next year. Someday I'm going to own SpaceX. And when I do buy into SpaceX, there's going to be a lot of money to be made. All right, everyone, I'm going to wrap up today's video with this. Stay motivated. Tomorrow, I'm going to be going through my public profile on this YouTube channel. Kept this video under 20 minutes here. You enjoyed my content, want to see more, smash all the buttons, and I'll see you all tomorrow. Big day tomorrow. Oh, yes. Later.